The ministry reason. It's in the smaller group setting that members learn to minister and to care for one another. According to those who have done the research, and I haven't counted them, but there are almost 60 what we would call one another statements in the New Testament. Now, those one another statements are really more than just mere statements. They're commands. They're commands. Commands like love one another, pray one for another, exhort one another, bear one another's burdens, edify one another, comfort one another, serve one another, and on the list goes. But think about it. Because these commands are nearly impossible to accomplish if we haven't established relationships with other members. Bottom line, you have to know a little bit about that other person before you can really care about meeting the needs of that person. Once you know someone, you know their name, you know a little bit about their life, you've established a relationship there. When that person is going through a difficult time, or that person is, maybe they have a need in their life, you are more apt to reach out and to minister and to do something to meet that person's need. I've seen it over and over again here in our church, how members of an ABF class will minister to the members of their class. I want to give you some illustrations. Maybe it's a younger class where a couple is welcoming a newborn into their family. And that baby has just been born. And often we will have that class to maybe cook some meals and to take those meals over to be a help whenever mom and baby come home from the hospital. I've seen it at times whenever maybe a member of an ABF class has a loved one that passes away, and then members of that ABF class will go to the calling hours and they will give words of encouragement, words of comfort to that other ABF class member. Even sometimes when we have members of our church that pass away and they are a part of an ABF class, often the members of that class will call us and say, please allow us to do the funeral dinner. We want to minister to those in our class. It might be financially helping someone in your class who has lost their job. Now, in a church this size, unless you have a photographic memory, and I'll tell you, I don't have it, all right? I will never forget calling one lady by the wrong name for months, until she finally looked at me with a very sweet smile and said, that's not my name, and gave me her real name. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've been calling you by this name for months now. That'll never get out of my head. Unless you have a photographic memory, you're going to struggle to know everybody here at Canton Baptist Temple, right? Is that a true statement? Maybe you have me beat, all right? I'm constantly working on meeting people and learning names. But it's in the context of an adult Bible fellowship class that you develop friendships with other people. You can't know everybody, but you can know somebody. Amen. Right? We can't know everybody, but we ought to strive to know a few people here at the church that we are a part of. You say, this church is too big for me. Maybe you're visiting today and you say, well, this church is just way, way too big for me. Let me first of all say that we are not as big as the early church right here in Acts chapter 2. Right? We average around 1,200 people on a weekly basis, but the early church averaged over 3,000 on a weekly basis. By the way, a healthy church will always be growing. Amen. Right? A healthy church will constantly be growing. And an unhealthy church doesn't grow, but instead it stays the same size year after year, or it begins to shrink. You might say, well, preacher, it is hard to get to know people in a church this size. My guess is that some of the church members in Acts chapter 2 said the exact same thing. thing. That's why the apostles saw the importance of church members not only getting together in a large group context at the temple, but also getting together in a small group context. Let me encourage you. I want to encourage you this morning to be a part of an ABF class, because that is where you will get connected with other members and you will develop lifelong relationships. But not only that, but in the ABF setting, you will have the opportunity to minister to other people. And at times, guess what? You will experience the blessing of other people ministering to you. All because you have chosen to be connected and to be identified in a small group that we call an adult Bible fellowship here at Canton Baptist Temple.